My baby is a Polo GTI.
Nice.
Obviously with a roll cage inside of it, racing seats, a whole Motec dash in it, so it's quite fancy. It's got all different colored lights and different colored buttons, and then they've also put like an upgrade kit on it, so it's got a little wing on the back, a little splitter in the front, and it's obviously got like the most beautiful sticker kit. The class I'm racing in, Astron Energy Polo Cup, is one of the most competitive classes in South Africa, and this weekend I wasn't on top of my game, so I was kind of in the mid pack, and it was so difficult. There's just cars everywhere, there's dust flying, the competition is so insane.
It must be a mental challenge when you go on track and you see the male competitors, you see this giant man or you see this masculine man standing there and thinking, oh.
I don't go onto track thinking I'm racing against boys or I'm racing against men, because like I'm literally racing against 45-year-old men out there.
Imagine.
So I feel like there's a lot of women out there that feel scared to come into a bold sport like this, and they think to themselves, no, I can't do it, or like, there's too many men here. There's not. You can do it. And I think we need more women in this sport to show how good we are and how we can compete against the men and beat the men.
It is, of course, our Wednesday. The time right now is 8 minutes past 10. And, around this time, we pay some attention to what's going on in the world of motoring. And we have none other than the legend man himself, the boogeyman himself, Mr. Ismail Peck, joining us in the building. And, of course, as usual, every Wednesday does not come alone. He comes with a special guest. And what a special guest we've got this morning. Before we introduce the guests, let's introduce Mr. Ismail Peck himself. You and I haven't had a conversation in a while, actually, and a lot has been happening in the world of motorsports. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning to everyone, and I'm doing very well here. It's been 2 weeks that I haven't been here, and it feels like long ago.
Very long. Very
It feels like it's very long ago. Sure.
Take us through what's been happening, some of the highlights in the past 2 weeks that's taken place in the world of motoring.
Okay, what has happened already, we were down in PE. It was the Extreme Festival, and the lady next to me, Tyler Robinson, she raced down in PE against my little boy Shani, Roshan. I'm going to bring him in studio next week. He's also a youngster, and he also done well. She had a bomber of a weekend, but the race before at Kailame, she qualified pole position.
You're Mr. Ishmael, there's one thing I appreciate about you is your capability to open up the industry, to ensure that those that were in have moved up to a position that they can bring others in and to follow suit and to follow through to them. And I think that's the one thing that you do really, really well in the world of motorsport, considering how tough it is to break into this sport, be it as a youngster, be it as a sponsor, be it as anyone breaking into motoring sport. And it's not a common sport in the country, but you've put yourself in a position where you are able to make yourself sustainable, but allow others to grow within your sustainability.
Motor racing in this country on the whole was not exposed as much as any other sport, and it's for us to take it forward and expose it and bring in young talent like this, because they're the future of our motorsport, not us old toppies that's still racing. We have to be looking at them and guiding them through the ranks to make them make it big one day. And that's why we sit here every Wednesday and we try and promote getting sponsors on board, people to help, so we can start little schools where we can teach kids how to race, taking kids off the streets and helping them. We're actually busy with a program right now, and it will take a while before we get it done, but it will be for go-karting, and that's the way. Did you start with go-karting?
Yes, I did.
That was actually part of my first question. How did it all start? Well, I mean, now that you've been put into the conversation, Tyler Robinson, great pleasure having you here with us in studio. You're a legend already at the tender age. I'm not going to mention how old you are just yet. I want you to give us a quick background story of who you are, what you do, and where does the passion come in from before we dive into the full spectrum of your involvement in motorsport.
Okay, so I started go-karting when I was 9. The passion comes from my dad. He raced motorbikes, he raced a whole bunch of different cars. He also raced motocross, and obviously he wanted me to be part of the motorsport industry as well. So at the age of 9, he put me into a go-kart, and ever since I drove, I was just so in love with the speed. It's just, ever since I was in the kart, I knew this is what I wanted to do.
At the age of 9 years old?
Yes, at the age of 9.
Sure. Quick one. The likes of Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, some of the top drivers, as far as Formula One, as far as motorsports is concerned, have always started off in go-karting. Yeah. Is that the starting position? Is there no other place for anyone to start? Is go-karting your introduction to motorsports? Is that the general introduction?
Yes, it's definitely the general introduction. I mean, it's not set in stone that if you don't do go-karting, you can't start in cars, but you always have an advantage starting in a go-kart. It teaches you things that no other vehicle can teach you. So I think go-karting is the best place to start for anybody that wants to just drive, and especially if you want to pursue a career in racing, go-karting is the place to go.
Now, at the tender age of 9 years old, were you whizzing through the curves, or were you a little more patience, or were you literally following through your dad's footsteps and no care, no all, daredevil on the racetrack? Is that who you are, or you're more of a subtle driver, calm driver on the curves?
No, I'd say I'm quite a aggressive driver. I'm not a cautious driver. I mean, I'm obviously in the racing, I'm a bit more careful, but on the track, I give it my everything. I give it 100%, and I attack those curbs.
Yeah.
Listen, let me come in there. Okay, I stand on the sideline and I watch all of them. So 21 cars on the grid. When they dive into that first corner, there's dust, there's everything. Guess who's always in the middle?
Come on.
Guess who's always in the middle?
Tyler Robinson himself, in the heat.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the heat,
Definitely.
always.
Like the saying goes, if you can't take the heat, you must get out the kitchen. And I think you've established yourself in the kitchen. A position that you started off from a tender age, but now you still at a very tender age. There's a footballer I like to use references. A footballer called Yamin Lamau, who currently plays for Barcelona. He's at 18 years old, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the things he's achieved at that age has surpassed a lot of the footballers that have come to pass in yesteryears. And right now, he's still set to achieve a lot more greatness at 17. And then the question my friends always ask me, Chief, what were you doing when you were 17? And I sit down thinking to myself, I was in a classroom writing history papers and whatnot. And here you are, 15 if I'm not mistaken, right?
16.
16.
Yes.
A very, very tender age. You've taken the track by storm and you still have a long way to go. What are the possibilities? What are the possibilities for you in the future? Being in motorsports, a sport that is we've spoken with Ismail. It's a sport that is commonly related to as a man's sport. You still in it, fairly young. What's the future looking like for you in the sport?
Well, obviously, you never know what the future holds for you. I'm hoping that maybe one day I can be part of an overseas series where I'm getting paid to do it. We're currently looking to start racing overseas. So I'm not sure what the future holds for me, but I'm hoping that it's a good.
Okay. Now we've spoken about what you look forward in the future.
Yes.
Let's bring it back now in the present. This past weekend, you were out at Kalami. You guys had a big race. Mr. Ismail said you're caught in the middle, you're caught in the dust, and you made your way out of it. Guide us through that. How's the level of competition been for you in the playing field where you compete against not only your female counterparts but also against male counterparts? How has that level of competition been for you, and the exposure in motorsports as well?
Well, the class I'm racing in, Astron Energy Polo Cup, is one of the most competitive classes in South Africa. I mean, yes, there's 21 drivers, sometimes there's 25 drivers. Sure. So it's a really big field. I mean, the competition is really tight. You really have to be on your game to get in those top positions. And this weekend I wasn't on top of my game, so I was kind of in the mid-pack, and it was so difficult. There's just cars everywhere, there's dust flying, the competition is so insane. And you know, everyone's bumping you, everyone's pushing you, so it's really like crazy, if I can put it to you that way. But the exposure is so good for you, because if you want to go overseas and race in those kinds of series, that's what you expect there. And I'm so glad that we have a series like Polo Cup that can expose us to something similar to what we're going to get overseas, which I'm very thankful for.
I want to bring in something.
Sure.
So how long are you in Polo Cup now?
It's my third year competing in Polo Cup this
third year. And when did you get your first pole qualifier?
That would be in April when I raced at Kalami. It was my first pole position.
Just a few months ago, just a month ago.
Yeah, just
Seriously?
about a month ago. Yeah.
And what did it feel like qualifying pole? I think you're the only girl in the Polo Cup, eh?
I'm the second female to ever qualify pole.
Sure.
But at this stage, for the last few years, you're the only girl racing driver there, eh?
Yes, yeah. There's only like one other female competitor, but yeah.
No.
So we equal. The men and the ladies are equal.
Yeah.
I mean,
in
you
that
guys,
Yeah.
Mr. Ishmael, in that equality, there must be a I don't want to use. There must be a mental challenge when you go on track and you see the male competitors. You see this giant man or you see this masculine man standing there and thinking, oh, I mean, yeah, fair enough. For competing, and the cars are the same, but the physicality, the mentality is not the same. He might be a lot more aggressive than I am. How do you change that mindset and you become a competitor as opposed to just a female competing with a male competitor? How do you become a general competitor and you look at everyone on the same scale as you because you're all driving the same car? That mentality, where does it come from? You're only 16 years old.
So I think because I've always done it, there's not a lot of girls in motorsport. You just have to see everybody as a car. See them as a number, don't see them as a person. When you look at the car, don't see the driver inside the car. Just see everybody as a number, see everybody as a car, and see yourself. See everyone as not a person, basically. Like, I don't go onto track thinking I'm racing against boys or I'm racing against men, because like I'm literally racing against 45-year-old men out there.
Imagine.
So it can be kind of scary, I guess. But for me, I don't look at them like that. I just switch off and I just drive like I'm driving against cars.
Yeah.
But Tyler, doesn't that drive you more? Doesn't that give you more oomph to know that you're the only girl there and you need to compete against all these guys? So it gives you that extra little steroid injection into yourself for you to do better.
Yes, it does, because no man likes to get beaten by a
Of course
woman.
not, yeah.
So when I entered Polo Cup, there was a big target on my back. A lot of people taking me out. A lot of people like trying to get me to get penalties and things like that because I'm a female racing driver. But all that did to me was push me to push harder. And when you win and when you qualify pole, it's kind of like just like, yeah, look, women can do it.
How did you feel when you qualified, Paul? Tell us the feeling there.
Well, it was actually a really strange feeling. I didn't think I had the pace to qualify pole. I think that's what made everything so much better. Because when I came in, my coach looked at me, she showed me number 1. I was like, what? And I think I literally, I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even feel my face when I got out the car, to be honest. It was just like the most amazing feeling. And because I've been working so hard at it for such a long time, it's just, you finally feel like all the hard work you've been putting in.
Moment, definitely.
Yes.
And how long have you raced on Kailami, or how many times have you been on Kailami?
I've been on Kailami twice.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you pulled out the pole?
No, 3 times.
Three
Three
times.
times.
Okay,
sorry.
3 times. I think by
Yes.
the 3rd time you only get to understand the track.
Yeah.
So the next time you go out there, you're going to be way better.
I hope so.
So listen, we've spoken about go-karts. I think everybody understands what go-karting. We've done it on a social level. There's been other vehicles there's been other racing cars that Mr. Ismail Peck has introduced me to that I've never known. What type of car do you drive? Just give us a visual. Let us visualize it. Put it for, because obviously we know what a Formula 1 car looks like. We know what a hot rod looks like. We know what a go-kart looks like. Guide us through your car, your baby that ensures that when you're racing, you're coming out number 1 in that pole position.
So my baby is a Polo GTI.
Nice.
Obviously with a roll cage inside of it, racing seats, a whole Motec dash in it, so it's quite fancy. It's got all different colored lights and different colored buttons, and then they've also put like an upgrade kit on it, so it's got a little wing on the back, a little splitter in the front, and it's obviously got like the most beautiful sticker kit.
Can you imagine? Top speed?
So my highest speed I've gotten to is at East London at a speed of 220 kilometers. It's the fastest track on the calendar.
But what would you think that car's top speed would be if you had a flat, long road like Kailami's long road? Well, what would you?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 240 maybe if you kept it going. I think
You would
capable.
clock that 240 easily, no?
Yeah.
Listen to you with a great amount of confidence, just saying, yeah.
Listen,
So we've spoken about your involvement in the industry, level of competition, the future, and the future, and what the future holds for you in motorsports. But more importantly, you're a woman in the industry, and there's others that are currently listening right now that are possibly older than you or even younger and aspiring to be in the position where you're at right now. How do they get into it? Of course, you mentioned that your father introduced you into the sports. But as an individual that has a keen amount of interest, where do they start? Where does level of interest saying just get into the car, get started? Once you're there, you race. Where does the level of motivation come from?
Well, I think the most important thing is that you're passionate about it, you want to do it. And depending on your age, you can start in a go-kart from any age. I mean, there's no age limit. You can be 4 and get in a kart. You can be 30 and getting in a go-kart. You can get into one of the regional car series like VW Challenge or Formula V. There's so many options for you in South Africa. It's endless. You just have to have the passion for it.
Sure. Like you say, if you don't start, you'll never finish. So you definitely need to start from somewhere.
Yes.
Mr. Ismail, I want to bring in this in terms of the plans for. I think you mentioned it's polo racing. What are the plans what are the plans going forward from here? Any races that we can look forward to? Any other events that you're racing in other than the Kyalami racetrack that we can look forward to?
Yes, the next one they're racing at Swartkop, so I think you guys can be there.
Swartkop is
around the corner. What's the date of it?
Oh, I'm not sure, but it's somewhere in June.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just definitely around the corner.
Around the end of June, yeah.
So I think it's 24th of June.
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Okay.
So
I'm not sure.
I think we should all be there,
Yeah,
so you
definitely.
guys can start experiencing it, and then we can start putting little clips out there, Faroza, and we can start teaching people what it's about, so that we can get parents to come on board and get sponsorships for people like Tyler that wants to go overseas. You know, sponsorships is the most important thing here to help our drivers. She's got herself to a level where she is on her own with her dad's team, you know, and just getting sponsors on board to help her take it further. She's already proved that she's good enough to do it. So now to take it to the next level, you need sponsors.
Yeah,
You
100%.
absolutely need sponsors. And that's why we're going to start we're busy with the school where we're going to take young kids, put them in karts, see how good they are, put them on simulators, and then take one or two and bring them into a car series and introduce it more to the people, because like we all know, people just don't know. The day I walked in here at Bogart Radio, nobody knew what is a hot rod. Nobody knew what is a polo cup.
Sure.
Nobody knew nothing. And now you guys are starting to learn these things. And the listeners out there are also starting to visualize the stuff. Faroza's putting up pictures of the stuff. So people are getting used to it. And the more we can keep it in people's faces, someone will come along and say, let me get involved here. It will help.
There's always a point of interest, and I think in that space, the biggest issue, the biggest barrier is the information and the knowledge. Sometimes we don't offer enough information or knowledge. And as far as motorsports is concerned, I always feel like there's a huge lack of knowledge and experience being shared out to the public, because there's interest, but we never really get to capture that interest, because it's a fly by night thing. You race in South Africa, you race in Kyalami one day, the next year you're overseas and nobody hears about you. So I think what you guys have done right now, opening the industry, allowing women to come into the industry to compete against men. So we all know that it's not the gender you're racing with, it's the car that you're racing with. If you can't drive the car, then you can't compete at all. And you've mentioned sponsorship. I think we're heading towards our Women's Month right now, and so it'd probably be a good time to try to capitalize on it, on your involvement in motorsport, because I'm really, really impressed with your involvement. You speak about it as if you've been racing for 30 years, but here you are, just under 10 years. And you've pretty much taken it by the horns, and I can almost attest that the future is definitely bright for you.
Thank you.
Any special messages you want to leave out for anybody listening right now, your friends, family, anyone that's aspiring to be like you?
Well, the message I'd like to leave today is, if you're a little girl at home, or if you're just a woman at home, if you want to do anything, just do it. Don't be afraid. Don't hold back. You can do whatever your dreams are, honestly. Sure. And I feel like there's a lot of women out there that feel scared to come into a bold sport like this, and they think to themselves, no, I can't do it, or like, there's too many men here. There's not. You can do it. And I think we need more women in this sport to show how good we are and how we can compete against the men and beat the men.
Shout out to you, man. You're Mr. Ismail's not taking that very well. I mean, look, you've impressed me. If anything I need to do is definitely come see you race. So just I can be more impressed by your actions on the race course itself. But the way you speak, the way the knowledge you share within the sport already speaks high volumes of who you are as a person and how far you're gonna go. Mr. Ismail, before I let you go, Motorsport Womza, What are the plans for the month? Of course, we're heading into the winter season. I know a lot of people want to be indoors, cuddled up in the blankets, but you're on the motorsporting side of things. You're going to encourage everybody else to be on the outdoors. What are the plans? What's going on in the next few months for WAMSA?
Okay, so for WAMSA, this weekend coming, we're having a seminar for the whole weekend. It goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're teaching COCs, clock over courses, how to do their job nicely, properly. We're teaching marshals. It's a whole course planned out for 3 days for everyone that's involved with WAMSA to learn the new rules, the regulations, and do everything right. You know, a lot of people come in and they write a test, they study the test, but the real thing out there, doing it by hand, is a different thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're doing the whole thing with people this weekend. We booked out a place in Benoni somewhere, and we've got 100 and odd people coming.
Sure.
And it's going to be a whole seminar for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
These are all stewards allocated for different race courses.
That's right, all different racetracks throughout South Africa.
Yeah.
So people are flying in from all over the country to come. I think this is the first time that we've ever done something like this. I don't think any other federation has done something like this. So yeah, we're stepping up.
Definitely.
I'm racing this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm racing at Swartkops this weekend. It's a 2-hour or 200 lap. I don't know what it is. I don't even know. I don't have time to know.
Laps.
Yeah, something like that, or 2 hour or something.
I'm used to a 50 lap, 67 laps around the course, but 200. That's like what do you guys call it?
Endurance.
Endurance race.
Endurance.
There's one overnight race. What is it called?
It's a 24 hour.
24 hour race. It's similar to that. Not
No. This is just like 2 hours.
2 hours.
This is about 2 hours long,
Sure.
and I'm doing it on my own. I'm doing the sprint race and I'm doing that. I get kept out of racing myself, and my time is quite expiring, you know.
You're running out of time.
And, yeah, and I'm always busy with them,
Yeah.
and I don't give myself time to race. So this weekend, when they said 2 drivers can share, I said, no, I ain't sharing with no one.
way.
I need to make up.
Very, very exciting times as far as our WAMSA is concerned. I think what you mentioned now in terms of that master class you're going to have this weekend, you call it the clock.
Clock of the course.
Clock of the course.
Yeah,
So
he's the boss that runs the racing. He stands there and makes all the decisions if anything went wrong.
Whether to penalize a driver.
Yes. That's the clock of the course. See, there you learn something new again.
100%. Formula One is teaching me a lot of things. I spend a lot of time watching Formula One, and when I get that insight, it almost opens my idea of what motorsport is like. And it's a very, very competitive sport. From what you've mentioned now, you've brought another gentleman here. I forgot his name. He raced in Durban, if I'm not mistaken. Also, he was the hot rod man, the man with the hot rod.
Andre Johnson.
Yeah. So
that's his son standing out there,
Seriously?
by the way. Yeah, that's his son.
He also competes.
He actually sets up cars and stuff and tests them.
Nice.
But he races now and again just to test cars, and he's actually good.
Yeah. I think, Mr. Ismail, I think more than anything, a lot of thanks must come from our side, because you've opened up our mindset, our ideas to an industry that we were, I don't want to say ignorant to, but we just didn't have enough information to. And the fact that we share this on a weekly Wednesday allows our listeners to get insight to what's going on in the world of motoring. How do we get involved in the world of motoring? And more importantly, that world of motoring is not only gender specific. Anybody can have entry into it. I think that's the most important thing. Every single time I have a conversation with you and your guests, definitely give me an insight to motorsport that I never had an idea about. So I'd like to thank you once again this morning. I know you've had a long day, starting from yesterday itself. You haven't had rest as yet. So I'll possibly like to give you a chance to go and get some rest. And Tyler, I want to wish you all the best for your future. I really look forward to seeing you in the upcoming race. I think Swartkop is the next race you'll be at. We'll definitely make an appearance there. But yeah, really looking forward to what you're going to do on course, possibly what the future has for you as well. Look forward to seeing you in any level of competition on our TV screens, getting the medals and getting the accolades you deserve, because you really deserve your flowers, young lady.
Thank you very much.
Most welcome.
Well done, my girl. Well done.
Thank
Keep
you.
pushing, and you'll always be at the top as long as you're pushing. You know, one thing I must say, if ever I get to the track and there's practice, she's there already. Yeah. When I leave, she's still
First
there.
to come, last to leave. Yeah,
always.
A lot of athletes have that mentality, and they become some of the greatest athletes in the world. So you're definitely on the right track.
So next week I'll bring in Roshan. He's 18, 17, 19, let's just say. He can come and say his age. He actually qualified third
Third, yeah.
on Saturday. It was his first
fantastic.
podium qualifier. And we'll talk about him
Yeah.
next week. And I think we must get this Polo Cup thing more into people, because there's a level below them. What's it called?
Rookie Cup.
Rookie Cup. So rookies, how old are they that gets into Rookie Cup?
So I think it's from the age of 14 to 16 they're allowed to compete, and then if you win the Rookie Cup class, you get a paid seat in the Polo Cup class for the next year.
And if you win Polo Cup, you go into Super Polo. Paid
Yeah,
seat.
you get a paid seat in the Super Cup.
Everything paid for.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a great amount of progression, and it's noticeable progression, which is what I value so much about sports, that has process, that has progress. At least yourself as an athlete, as a competitor, you're able to see how well you're doing. If there's longevity for yourself in that sport. And I think motorsport is definitely doing the right thing for yourself and for anyone else involved. Lady and gentlemen, I would like to thank you so much for coming in this morning. Before I let you go, I think you got one more whisper you want to share with me.
Yes. We're having a rally championship this weekend in Bronkhorstspruit as well. The guy's name is Kobus Groenewald. Everybody knows if you want to get into rally, you contact Kobus Groenewald, and they're having something in Bronkhorstspruit this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's Swartkops and it's Bronkhorstspruit. Until next week,
Interesting
thank you,
times.
everyone.
All the best for your bright future, Mr. Ismail. Thank you so much, Mr. Boogeyman. Don't be a ghost, please. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best for this weekend's race, for June's race, and for any other race that's set to come in the future. Please look out in the stands. We'll be out there cheering for you.
I will look.
Safe travels. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Do have a great morning.